بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Interpretation of the Holy Quran.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. With the help of Allah, we began a concise interpretation of Quran. We got to chapter An'am. Chapter An'am is one of those chapters that have been revealed in Mecca, and it has 165 verses. Please listen to verse 136.
وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ مِمَّا ذَرَأَ مِنَ الْحَرْثِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ نَصِيبًا فَقَالُوا هَذَا لِلَّهِ بِزَعْمِهِمْ وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا فما كان لشركائهم فلا يصل إلى الله وما كان لله فهو يصل إلى شركائهم ساء ما يحكمون.
And they set apart a portion for Allah out of what He has created of tills and cattle, and say, this is for Allah and these for our associates. Then what is for their associates, it reaches not to Allah, and whatever is set apart for Allah, it reaches to their associates. Evil is that which they judge. In this verse, Allah is talking about disbelievers, but one of their superstitions. Superstition is something that they were making from themselves. They believing in something that intellect will not accept it, and there is no reason from religion or prophet from God. Only people believe in something because they heard from some other people, because of their parents or their grandparents, or overnight, little by little, they have made from themselves. Like to believe that there is, for example, one animal that it has 500 hands and 500 legs, sometimes flies and can eat 1,000 people at once. This is something that people have in their imagination. They make from themselves. And here Allah is talking about one of the beliefs of disbelievers. And Allah is going to condemn that definitely. As we know that disbelievers believed, and Allah tells us that it is their belief, or some of them they believe such a things, and Allah condemns that they said, boys belong to us and girls belong to Allah. Allah is questioning these people and says, أَلَكُمُ الذَّكَرُ وَلَهُ الْأُنْثَى. It means boys belong to you and girls, because people did not like girls. The girls belong to Allah in verse 21 of chapter Najm. So one time these people divide boys and girls and says boys belong to us and girls belong to Allah. And sometimes they divide grains, animals, foods, for example. They divide between God and other people or other idols. In this verse, Allah is talking regarding to the grains and cattle, and says disbelievers, a group of disbelievers are dividing the grains and cattle between God and their gods. It means the one who has created all, and the idols that people have made by their hands. So, when there is some, for example, cows, some camels, some sheep that they slaughter it, they divide it, and they say, this is for God, and this is for our idols and our gods. This is for Allah, and this is for gods. Then Allah says, okay, whatever they make for their gods, their idols, they spend for their houses, the place that they establish for them, the place that the gods and idols are over there, they spend for that. And the place, the food, for example, grains or meats, that they put it only for God, for Allah, if they are in shortage, they say, God doesn't need it anyway. It's better to take it and use it for our gods, our idols. Allah says, first they divide between Allah and their gods, their idols. And after that, you will see that, okay, whatever they gave to their associates, to their gods, they will spend either for the buildings, for the visitors, or anything else, to repair it, to build something else. And whatever they put aside, any meats that they put aside for Allah, they will say, anyway, Allah doesn't need it anyway. He is self-sufficient. Then they will take it and use it for their gods and their associates. So to divide from the beginning is wrong. Second, also, when they divide for God, they know themselves that He doesn't need. They take some when they need and they spend for their gods. From this sentence, in this verse, we get a few messages. Allah says, وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ, and they made for Allah مِمَّا ذَرَأَ مِنَ الْحَرْثِ, from something that Allah has created for them from tills, hars, wal-an'am, cattle, cows, sheep, and camels, for example. Nasiban, ja'alu nasiban, they put aside, they make aside. Nasib, it means a portion. فَقَالُوا هَذَا لِلَّهِ, they say this is for God, بِزَعْمِهِمْ, as God needs. They think it is going to help God. This is going to benefit God. They said this is for God. وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا, and this section, these parts belongs to our associates, to our gods, our idols. فَمَا كَانَ لِشُرَكَائِهِمْ فَلَا يَصِلُ إِلَى اللَّهِ, whatever they put aside for their associates, they don't give it to God. They try to spend the money for repairing them, repairing the building, for the visitors, and something like that. But the portion that they put aside for God, وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ, whatever they put aside for God, فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ, it is going also to reach their associates. Anytime they need, they say, God doesn't need cattle, sheep, cows, meat. God, Allah doesn't eat it. God is self-sufficient. Then, فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ, also these will be used for their associates. سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ, this is very, very bad judgment for these people. From the beginning, when they put aside for God, if they want that God Himself to take a benefit, God doesn't use such a thing. God doesn't need anything. If they want to say to spend for God, okay, at least give it to poor people only because of God. Spend for the widows. Spend for the orphans. And What is the reason that you put aside for God and then you will spend for something else? From this verse, we have understood when Allah says, وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ, they put for Allah aside مِمَّا ذَرَأَ مِنَ الْهَرْثِ. ذَرَأَ, it means خَلَقَ, created, something that God has created. Hals is tilth, is like vegetables, plants, trees, fruits, something like that that God has created. We know that we plant the seed, we give the water. Allah says, although you do a lot, but this is for God, because God has created. You give water, you plant, but you don't create. This is something that God has created. زَرَعَ مِنَ الْهَرْثِ. Also, in another verse, chapter Waqi'ah, verse 64, Allah says, أَأَنْتُمْ تَذْرَؤُونَهُ أَمْ نَحْنُ الزَّارِعُونَ. Is it you that cause it to grow, or are we the causers of the growth? We are the one, it means Allah is the one that definitely cause the farm, the trees, the vegetables to grow. The real creator is God. The one who caused something like that, vegetables, fruits, to grow is Allah, not people. So although we do our best, we prepare everything, but to create and to cause to grow is only by Allah. وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ. Allah wants to say that these people, anytime are in shortage, they say, okay, whatever we put aside for Allah, also they give to their associate, because they say he doesn't need it. So we understand that even disbelievers, in their mind, they know that Allah doesn't need anything and Allah is self-sufficient. سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Evil is that which they judge. It means we should refer to prophets to get the message from prophets, and prophets are fighting with superstition, and because of that Allah is telling through the prophet that it is bad judgment. Don't divide anything with God, or if you divide, say this is for God, it means we spend in the way of God, not for God himself. Thank you very much for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.